What it do, my people? Welcome into No Ketchup Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me, as always. We've been on a hiatus for a while. I don't know. We just can't get our shit together. We got to get it tight. It's mostly my fault. I've been super busy, and then Nick travels. We can't lock it up. So we got a ton to catch up on and talk about. The Natty is done. College football. Ohio State lifts the trophy. You know we're not big college folks. So we're going to talk a little bit about the outlining things and the other smaller storylines. I asked a couple people that are Michigan fans, would you trade the W in Columbus for them not winning the title? I'll give you their responses. We'll talk through that. But the real story in Chicago, Ben Johnson hired as the Chicago Bears coach. He's the guy we've been talking about. I'll go out on a limb. Big Nick the Quick. I want to say we were one of the first people to even bring up that dude's name. This was multiple years ago that I would love to have a guy like Ben Johnson running the offense for the Chicago Bears before Caleb Williams was even in the fold. He passed on the Commander's job. A lot of people think to take this Chicago Bears job that he thought would be open. He is now here in town. We'll break that down. The excitement, the expectations, what goes into it, what's happening there. NFL playoffs, lots of stuff to talk about there. Lamar Jackson, man, there's a lot of discourse around his name. This reminds me exactly of Peyton Manning. 2 all-pro MVPs, perennial Pro Bowlers that just fizzled out in the playoffs. He's going to have to get that off his back one way or another. We'll talk about that. The Arrowhead matchup, Josh Allen versus Pat Mahomes. We'll get into it all. No Ketchup. Sports Talk via Chicago. Caitlin Clarke sitting next to Taylor Swift.
Talking about Caitlin Montclair Clarke.
How did that happen? Interesting. No Ketchup. Sports Talk via Chicago. Let's get to it.
Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Big Nick the Quick, what's happening?
Man, how we feeling?
You already know. Look, let me open the show. 2025, man. You know I'm on dry January.
Are you?
I'm on dry January, man. I've been cruising, by the way. 21 days, easy.
No problem. There you go.
Bro, no problem. Easy. I've been cruising. I also haven't been putting myself in situations where I'm like, man, I would really love to have a drink right now.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. Me and the missus have been chilling at the crib a lot. Dinners with just us. Stepped out a couple times, but I shit's wrapped up by 10. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been really trying to knock out this dry January. We got 9 more days. I'm gonna get it done. I was thinking about pushing it to like a Q1, dry Q1, but you guys are coming into town.
I was gonna say that's not a possibility in a couple weeks, man. You could take a little break. I was actually thinking about taking a hiatus after this trip, after the Super Bowl, once the NFL season wraps up. I think I'm gonna get on the health mission for a little bit, man. I need to clean out a bit. It's just when the season's going on and shit's popping every weekend, and you're just kind of chilling. It's a little bit harder. Then we're going out to New York, so obviously you know how that goes.
Yes.
But yeah, I think afterwards,
we're about to put in a shift.
Yeah, I might be on a dry post Super Bowl. I don't know, man. I might even dabble into some of this. Not full vegan, but probably cutting back on a little bit of meat and some things. Man, I'm getting older.
Yeah, red meat.
I need to feel good. I need to feel good.
So I bring this up to say, and let's be clear. First of all, about all this, people are such saints because they don't. Alcohol is poison. The reason everyone is not drinking is because they get hungover. All right?
Yeah.
If you didn't get hungover, you would destroy your health and have a good ass time and wake up the next day, and 2 days later you'd be drinking. I understand. I get it. You're tired of being hungover and wasting literally multiple days in a row.
Days. It's not even the next morning. Yeah, it used to be the next morning. It's days. Like we talk about this all the time. Next week I'm cooked. Yeah.
Trying to get back sorted for multiple days. That's the reason you're not drinking. I hear all these people on the internet. Alcohol's poison. You're killing yours. Bro, you would do it if you couldn't get hungover. I don't want to hear the shit. Anyway, so I've been on that. And I say all that to say, so, I've been in the gym more because, I've been having more energy. I've been drinking. I've been kicking it. And so the lady, first of all, shout out my girl. She's unbelievably on top of shit when it comes to the health side. Like, she's in the gym every day. She's eating clean all the time. High protein, like, doesn't mess around when it comes to that. She's like, yo, let's go do some yoga. They just opened up a Core Power across the street from the crib. I'm like, yeah, I fuck with yoga. Like, I'm with it. Like, I will say this, bro. If you can get yourself to go to hot yoga like 2-3 times a week and stay consistent, you feel so limber. The body just feels elastic. Like, you feel great. But I'd never done a sculpt class.
You sound like someone who's in the middle of a dry January New Hampshire. Man, if you can start doing this, man, I've seen the clarity, man. I've seen it. I can't believe I was treating my body this way. Like,
no, I'm not even on that. Because, like, look.
Hey, make an Instagram post. Make a reel about it.
You know what? Like, Nick, you know this. And I've accepted this and know it
for sure.
For however long. Like, there's a cost to everything you do. If
Absolutely.
you go out and you want to have fun and run around and grind your body,
eat everything, there's a cost.
You're not going to feel that great.
You're not going to feel great.
Now, the cost of kicking it at the crib and chilling and getting on your health shit is you're not going to be stepping out.
You're going to miss a lot. You're not going to be kicking it. Yeah.
So, like, hey, man, I've accepted when I step out, I'm sacrificing feeling good the next day or whatever. Long story short, I went to this sculpt class, G. This shit was so hard, bro. Oh my God. I was seeing stars.
Is that when you're holding the posts, like the poses like crazy and stuff?
So it's essentially like regular yoga, but including weights, like hand weights.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm doing all these poses and shit with the weights. And like an idiot, I'm a guy. So I go in there and there's like 10s, 8s, 5s, and 3s. So I'm like, okay, I'm obviously grabbing. She's like, grab the heavy and then grab a lighter one. I'm like, okay, I'm obviously grabbing 10s and 8s. Gee, I was in there
He was dying.
Dude, dying, bro. So that shit was interesting, man. Dry January. Don't do the sculpt. Go do the regular yoga, man. Just go relax. Go get in there. Go get some stretching in. But it's been good.
I got this Peloton sitting right behind me, man. I need to put used to it.
I got one at the crib in Chicago. I got to get back on it. I love riding, though.
Yeah, nothing's more humbling than seeing the Peloton you don't ride. I will say that, man. So I was thinking about it. I might get back on the class real quick. You pay for it every month and all that. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel it. All right.
And when you start riding it, you do feel good. I will say that. Like, if I get on a groove on the Peloton, like, you feel great the whole rest of the day. Oh, yeah. It's crazy how that works, and then you just give up on it. And it is like the best high in the world.
Yeah,
but
facts.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's run it. Ohio State wins the national championship. They won the inaugural college football playoff title, and now they cap it with the first title in the expanded 12-team version.
Far too expanded 12-team version that takes too long. And can we talk about this real quick? Can I just give a quick side note on this 12-team playoff? I think it is the right way to do things, but there should never be a situation where the college football season goes into the NFL conference championship weekend. Like, we shouldn't be here at this Monday still going through college football. The season took way too long. Shave off some of these non-conference games or something like that.
But Nick, what do we talk about? This isn't college ball anymore.
It's money ball.
This is the pros.
Dude, the NFL had 2 playoff weekends in between the semifinal and the final. They literally did the fucking wild card weekend and the divisional weekend happened in between the semifinal and the final. It's too much. The season went on for way too long. I feel like by the time the national championship even hit, people were kind of over it, especially, we knew who was going to win, but they got to figure that out. Shave off like 2 weeks off the season. This game should have happened 2 weeks ago.
Them boys finished 14-2, bro. That's the pros.
That's a 16-game schedule. Yeah,
16-game schedule, dog.
Yeah.
So we talked about that. It's the pros. Overall, different leagues. Ohio State and Notre Dame. They're not even in the same. They weren't even in the same league. And to be honest, it was close to being a one-possession game, but it was almost as if Ohio State kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit in that second half because they were destroying those boys. In my opinion, that game was nowhere near as close as it looked on paper and on the final score. Like, if you look at Riley Leonard's stat line, you would think he had a phenomenal game, and there was big stretches of that game where he had zero answers throwing the rock or running it, especially after that first drive in the first half. They did nothing the whole back half of the first half.
Which created the greatest live betting opportunity. Like, if you want to talk about when to get in on a live number, it was when that Ohio State fell down between 3.5 and 4.5 after that opening Notre Dame drive. I know I jumped on it. Shout out our guy Eder. I know he jumped on it too. Like, if you want to look for spots to live bet, you're essentially getting what should have been, a 9-point line at 4.5 because you knew that 7. Ohio State was going to score in the very next possession.
Also,
which they did, and then they just ran it up from there.
Also, what's big on live betting too is look at the context and how did they score?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
It was a 9-minute drive. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it wasn't going to happen again.
There was a 15-play drive where Riley Leonard ran the ball 9 times, and it looked like he was going to pass out on the way back to the bench. So those are the spots where it's like, they can't keep this up. So I'm getting a little discount on the closing number. But
essentially,
what I wanted to talk to you about was, and just bring to our No Ketchup listeners, was I was sitting on the couch and I was watching. I turned it off because I went and watched Tommy Paul, Sasha Zverev, Australian Open. I had to put it to the little screen. But one of the thoughts I had right before I flipped it off was Notre Dame is never going to win a title in a national championship until they start playing ball like everybody else does. Marcus Freeman came out in January and said, we're going to major in high school recruiting and we're going to minor in the portal. That equation equals 0 national championships. If you don't start playing ball like the other schools, you are in deep trouble. I'm going to tell you this. And this is, of course, my opinion. Notre Dame loses in the cool factor. You're a big-time kid from down south, black, coming from poverty, essentially, a lot of these kids. Notre Dame is not at the top of your list. That's not a cool school that you want to go to.
Nothing sexy about Notre Dame.
On top of that, you add the academics that they're an upper level academic school. They're like almost like a Stanford-ish type school when it comes to playing ball. Northwestern, these are the type of academics that you need and the type of people that they're trying to attract to Notre Dame to play football. A lot of these guys are not interested in dealing with that. They're there to play. Notre Dame still has this idea that you're here to become a good human being and a guy, and academics, and then in football is alongside it. Meanwhile, teams like Ohio State are paying top dollar at every position, spending $20+ million to put your roster together, showing you and telling you football is the number one priority. Now, Ryan Day, excuse me.
Shout out Jason Day.
What does he
got to do with this?
Shout out Jason Day. Ryan Day can get on the mic, as you mentioned, Nick, and say, my number one priority, my motivation is getting up in the morning and making sure that my players fulfill their dreams.
Reach their dreams.
Now, I'll tell you, some of that is true, Nick, because a lot of those guys' dreams is to get paid as much money as possible and go to the league.
As long as their dreams are the same as Ryan's dreams, then he is waking up every day to pursue their dreams. As soon as their dreams change, Ryan is not interested in that anymore.
So what I'm getting at is Notre Dame isn't going to win a national title until they start playing ball with the big guys and essentially lowering the academic man standard and treating it for what it is as pro football, as we always talk about. So that was the biggest thing that I thought about as I was watching it. I'm like, these are 2 different classes of teams. Notre Dame essentially They lost to Northern. Like, a perfect example, to be honest, if you go in the portal and you're Notre Dame and the best quarterback you come out with is Riley Leonard, that's an issue.
Yeah, for sure.
That guy's not going to win you a national title. He was very close. That defense was lights out. You are going to be – how about this? In my opinion, until they start playing actual ball, they're not going to win a title. But even if they were to get another opportunity, they're fucking 10-point underdogs.
Well,
they're in bad shape in the national title. It's going to be a colossal upset for them to get it done. So Notre Dame needs to treat it like everybody else, start paying people top dollars, lower the academic standards for college football athletes so you can start attracting these blue chippers. And go ahead, Nick, and then I want to talk about
I was going to say, yeah, I fully agree with what you're saying, and some people would counter that with, well, what, they just made the national championship game, and it's like, hey, this is like year 1, 2, and 3 of this new system. As we get further down the line, and Ohio State's 20 million becomes 30 million, right, or becomes Florida's 40 million, or becomes Texas's 50 million, and it really becomes a true free-for-all, Notre Dame is just going to be that much further from being competitive, right? So we still have some remnants of the old system. You still have some high school recruits in there. You still have some transfers that are going to choose Notre Dame because of the allure of Notre Dame. But to your point, this is a different ball game, right? If you still think that this is the college football of old, if you still think that the Golden Dome or whatever piece of tradition that you're holding on to is going to sway some kid, you're sadly mistaken. The kids are going to follow the money, right? The money situation is out of control. It's completely unregulated dollars. You can commit on Tuesday and transfer on Wednesday. You have kids that were playing in that game yesterday that have already transferred schools today, right? The portal is wide open or already had one foot out the door. That is the way it goes. So while you might want to sit there and think like, oh, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way, and I'm going to sit in the kids' living room and look them across the eyes and tell them how good of a life they're going to have if they come to South Bend, Indiana, it just doesn't work that way. We knew it when Saban retired. They asked Saban about it. He's like, every year, me and my wife, we host all the kids at our house at the beginning of the year. And he goes, the last time I did it, I'm looking around at these kids, and I'm like, half of these guys are going to leave. They're all going to hit the portal. What are we doing this for? So that is the new age college football. I think that's why you're going to see, like we talked about the Belichick thing a few weeks ago, you're going to see coaches running towards it because this is the new system. It is much more like the NFL. So if you're Notre Dame, and it sounds like that conversation, that quote from Freeman came after a conversation in which the Notre Dame officials told him, hey, we just don't have that, right? Our alumni aren't forking up $20 million for you to buy a team, so you better hit the recruiting trail. And he's trying to spin it as a positive, which is great. But you better find it. You better find it from somewhere else. You're not going to be able to compete. And you compare them to Northwestern. Northwestern isn't trying to hide and pretend like they're some prestigious football school. You saw it with Fitzgerald. They said win 7 or 8 games. You can suck every few years. Win 7 or 8 games. Don't embarrass the program. We're here for a completely different reason, right?
Raise good men.
Raise good men and don't embarrass the program. We'll give you a couple bucks. We don't really give a shit. We're here for a different reason. Notre Dame isn't trying to play that way. Notre Dame still looks at itself as a college football giant. And furthermore, look at the playoff, right? I think favorites were 11-1 in playoff games. 11-1 in playoff games. We ended up with a national championship of Ohio State and Notre Dame. I mean, they played Georgia to get there. Like, it's the same teams are going to be there, right? There's no parity that's going to be created. This 12-team system isn't all of a sudden – it's not going to be like the NCAA tournament for basketball where you have Cinderella stories. It doesn't work that way. You're either on there and you're paying to play, or you're going to be on the outside looking in. It's going to be the Ohio States. It's going to be the Georgias. Bama will be back up there. Your LSUs, your Michigans, your Texases, right? Texas just extended Sarkisian and gave him a boatload of money so that he doesn't go to the NFL. This is the new way that it goes. So if you're not willing to spend that money, you're absolutely going to be on the outside looking in. Nothing will be organic anymore. You will have to buy players. You're going to have to hit the portal hard, and you're going to have to be all over that and run it like a pro team. You need directors of college scouting who are scouting other teams' players. Like, this is the new infrastructure. This is why North Carolina hires Bill Belichick. We are in a pro system.
So, Morgan, Marcus Freeman goes on to say...
We got Morgan Freeman and Jason Day today from Sean.
Yo, my coffee's strong today.
And that's that dry January is fucking you up.
No, for real. Like, if I had a couple of whiskeys last night, I wouldn't have said neither.
Jason Day and Morgan Freeman in the building.
Oh, my God. Marcus Freeman. So, to get back to it, Marcus Freeman, he says... So you also have to tell stories, and I quote, about players who stay. 2023 Nagurski winner Xavier Watts is an example. That's the safety for Notre Dame, and then Nagurski is essentially the best defensive player in college football. Well, let's talk about Xavier Watts. Do you know what Xavier Watts went to Notre Dame to play? Wide receiver.
Yeah.
All right? You follow me. Do I even need to say anything else? So the wide receiver went to Notre Dame and didn't get an opportunity because either I don't know anything about Xavier Watts really and his offensive prowess, but if he was a blue chipper, hey, you think Jeremiah Smith?
I was about to say, you think Jeremiah Smith? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
All right? You get what I'm saying?
If he was that level of receiver, he's going to play receiver.
Correct.
Yeah.
He goes to Notre Dame as a wide receiver, was a two-way guy in high school, but he went to Notre Dame as a wideout. He doesn't play. He ends up redshirting. There's a bunch of the COVID stuff going on, whatever. But by the way, Xavier Watts is 23 years old as well.
Yeah, he's a grown-ass man.
He's an older guy in college ball.
Yeah.
Great player, by the way. I watched him. I watched a little bit of tape as well. He plays. I love he downhill, hard-nosed safety, right? Cool. But what I'm getting at is he went as a wide receiver. He doesn't have an opportunity to play. He turns into a defensive player. He was the backup to Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton goes and leaves. He starts playing ball and becomes one of the best defensive players in college football. Do you know how rare of a story that is?
Yeah.
Do you know, and I get it. Those are the guys that Notre Dame wants. A guy that commits and is going to do whatever it takes to get on the field. I will hang up being a wide receiver to be a safety so I can play football for Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame. Well, those guys do not exist.
Well, even if they did exist, the story I'm telling you is, hey, come here when you're 18 and when you're 23, you might make it. Right. That's the story. Whereas George is saying, hey, we'll give you $1 million just to come on campus. Right? Michigan saying, we'll give you $1 million to come on campus. Michigan just gave a quarterback $12 million. $12 million for the brother to come to school. What are we talking about here?
You talking about Carson Beck?
No. Michigan, the dude they got from Florida, he was number one recruit in high school. The black dude, yeah. $12 million.
Yeah, they got billionaires now meddling. It's insane.
It's crazy money, yeah.
Carson Beck is dating one of the influencer twins that goes to Miami. Guess where he leaves Georgia to go?
Miami.
With
a bag. Yeah.
So
and he's not even that good.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
he's not even that good.
This was one of those windows where it's like, they're here. If you don't want to play ball like the rest of the folks, you probably should have won a national title yesterday. And they're not going to win the national title until they start playing complete ball where they're fighting just like other teams in the portal. Yo, you're going to have to bring the standard down. That's just how it's going to be. If you want to win the title, none of that. And to be honest, from all the Notre Dame fans I know and the way they talk, I'm not sure they're ever going to lower the standard because they think they're on another planet than the other college football teams.
One of the most arrogant fan bases in all of sports.
But that's fine. You're going to continue to lose. And you're going to lose games like you did to Northern Illinois. And you're going to be in a battle to get back to the national title if you don't start playing ball.
And like I said, you'll continue to fall. Again, you were second this year. That's awesome. As this gap gets bigger, and then you're going to have certain schools who are going to come out of nowhere and start spending money, right? And going to decide, hey, wait, if all it takes to be good at football is a bunch of money, why can't we do this, right? You're going to have more realignment. You're going to have more USCs going to the Big Ten. You're going to have more Texases going to the SEC. They're going to sign media deals. Their pockets are going to get deep, and they're going to get in the business of college football. So if you're taking some righteous stand of we're not going to buy players, well, unfortunately, you're the wrong sport. You might as well go play high school football at this point because it is pay to play. A quarterback, who was the guy? Was it Nevada? They started off 3-0. The quarterback transferred to the postseason. UNLV. The money wasn't right, so he left after 3-0. He was putting up numbers.
They promised my man some cheese.
So it wasn't. Yeah.
He said I'll give y'all a couple weeks. If this money not in my account by week 3,
hey, good luck. Here, hey, how'd they finish, by the way? How did UNLV's football team finish, by the way? Probably not very good.
I have no idea. But, yeah, man, this is the horizon. So that was all I could think about. Notre Dame's going to have to get off their high horse and start getting in the mud and start fighting for some of these players that now are looking for dollars, or they'll never, ever win a title. It's going to be a super, super grind. If you think you're going to be able to field a team that can compete with Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Penn State, the rest of those guys off of 3 to 4 year Letterman,
Texas.
Junior, Texas.
We're talking oil money here.
That you found that I will commit to Notre Dame for 4 years. You're sadly mistaken. Unfortunately,
fight Irish. Yeah, like come on to go to South Bend. I've been to South Bend. To South Bend. It's not great.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not great. You see the bars that they show when they show the Notre Dame games. These are the bars that you will be hanging out in.
Hey man,
McFallahan's and Rudy's Corner Tap and all types of places like that. It's not really cracking out there like that.
Yeah.
If you want a good meal in South Bend, you got to go to Chicago.
Facts. All right, let's talk Ben Johnson.
The Eagle is
Chicago
landed.
Bears. The Eagle has landed. What did my man George Bush say? Well, mission accomplished when he went out
on the boat. Mission accomplished. Shout out, Bush. Hey man, simpler times.
Did you watch any of the inauguration stuff?
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah,
I watched the whole thing. How long? We want to go into this one now? I thought what was gonna happen is exactly what happened, and yeah.
Yo, so
the Golf of America. We should rename the pod the Golf of America.
His son is 6'9".
Yeah, folks is tall as hell. He needs a basketball.
What? Somebody get that man a rock.
Get that man a rock. Gee, get him out that suit. Get him a rock.
Gee, put him what?
You can get him the best. You can get him the best training ever. Folks could be Cooper Flag. For real, Cooper. Hey, could you imagine if Trump had a 5-star basketball son? He'd be like LeVar on steroids, boy. And my son would beat Biden in basketball. He would be talking all types of shit. Bear would beat Hunter Biden. He's like all types of. Could you picture that shit, Doc? Kamala doesn't even have children that hoop.
Oh my God, dude! All right, before this goes off the rails, let's get back to our boy Ben Johnson. The Eagle has landed. Chicago Bears got the guy. We've been talking about this guy for multiple years now. What he did in Detroit was special. This year, the year before, I mean, they scored 70 touchdowns this year. Like, the offense was just prolific. Now, did he have a sensational roster? Absolutely. The roster is solidified. The offensive line was crazy.
Sensational. The offensive line was actually what was crazy.
They had the best offensive line in the league, the best running back duo. They have
excellent receivers.
They have a field stretcher in Jamison Williams. They have a possession Chris Carter and Amon-Ra,
who also blocks. Let's not forget that. Like all those trick plays and all that shit, it does require receivers that enjoy blocking. And that man, someone likened him to Hines Ward. I think that was the other day. He's a Hines Ward-esque type guy where he's also getting you extra yardage by blocking and all that with more talent. Shout out Hines Ward though.
Shout out Hines Ward.
Hines Ward was a fucking beast.
Yeah. So they got a blue chip 5-star tight end in Laporta making one-hand catches. I mean, the roster is solidified. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So is it instantly going to look like that? No. But I have confidence that Ben's going to be able to come in. He was top 3 in motion usage. He was top 3 in play action. Those are all the things the Chicago Bears offense needs.
The Bears were 29th in play action last year. Isn't that crazy? with a rookie quarterback. I didn't know that until they said it yesterday. The Bears were 29th. Who gets a rookie? Yeah, we don't need to rehash last year, but to let you know what they were thinking, you have a rookie quarterback and you're 29th in play action should tell you everything you need to know about what was happening with the Chicago Bears last year.
Also, it's widely been investigated that you don't need to have a very successful run game to run play action. Just showing the action manipulates enough to help out a young quarterback. So yeah, that's inexcusable.
It's insane.
It's insane that you're bottom of the league in play action with a guy
with a rookie quarterback who's getting killed on every single play.
Yes. So
and then no one's looked at that and said maybe we should try to wrinkle in some play action. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's hey man, Jackson Smith and Jigba told us his thoughts on Shane Waldron before. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. He's like, they're like, what are the Bears getting? He's like, he couldn't even hide it.
Bro, he almost was like a ridiculous.
And he's coming off and he was a rookie, a second year, coming into his second year when he gave that interview, which is crazy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
We got our guy. I'm confident that he's going to come in and be able to develop Caleb and find out if he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, top 7 quarterback in the NFL, because that's what you need to compete annually in this league. What were your thoughts when it came across the ticker that the Bears landed Ben Johnson?
A bunch of things. So number one, you guys know I've been extremely skeptical of everything Chicago Bears related. Have been for a while, but really this year kind of took it all out of me. So while I wanted Ben Johnson, I didn't want to get myself excited about it because I felt like I had seen this story before and I knew how it was going to end. Ben Johnson ends up somewhere else because the Bears won't pay him. Clearly that wasn't the case. By all records, the Bears paid him and paid him handsomely. I think he's, if not the highest, one of the highest paid coaches in the NFL right now. Long-term deal. It seems like he gets quite a bit of autonomy. Seems like he asked for Kevin Warren to kind of be out of the way. I'll work with Poles, but I can't work with Poles through Kevin Warren and vice versa, right? So it sounds like he got all that. So to the hire, it's a knockout hire, man. This is a guy who went to Detroit, right? Jared Goff, even though he had made a Super Bowl with the Rams, was dead in the water as a quarterback, right? What should have been trading your franchise quarterback and entering into a rebuild actually turned them into a contender with the help of obviously with Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn and the staff that they put together there. You mentioned a lot of the talent, the culture that they had there. So as far as a guy who we know can develop the quarterback and we know can put together a great offensive system, he has all that. Like, you could not have made a better hire as far as who was available. This is the most hyped assistant I think I've ever seen get into an NFL head coaching job, but with good reason, man. I mean, he kept it going pretty much up until the Jameson Williams ill-fated interception the other day that he threw, which was one of the worst play calls I've ever seen, but that's fine. You can't get them all. But listen, if he comes in, I love the fact that he's bringing Dennis Allen with him. Someone likened it to McVay bringing Wade Phillips when he first got that job with the Rams, which 1,000% makes sense. You've been a head coach. You've been around forever. You run the defense. I'm going to stay out the way. I'm going to take care of the offense. I'm really interested to see who – go ahead.
And how do I handle this as a head coach?
How do I as a head coach? Yeah. How do I command this whole thing? Yeah.
You have a built-in earpiece on, hey, help me organize my time on this, or help me.
Yeah.
What would help me with my approach here? I'm not saying he's going to morph into Dennis Allen or Dennis Allen's going to take over that. But for a guy to have a guy in the building where it's like, hey, how would we structure travel for this, and this? Or how would you go about this, and this is big.
And he's not a guy who's waiting for a head coaching job. Allen is kind of in that Vic Fangio thing of it's not going to work for you as a head coach, but boy, are you respected as a defensive coordinator. Kind of like Dick LeBeau was on the Steelers forever, right? Hey, I am not worried about this guy taking another job. So Dennis Allen is going to be here to stay. Really interested to see who he does bring in as the offensive coordinator, because as a head coach, you're kind of involved in everything. So while we know Ben Johnson is going to be the architect of the offense, there is going to be someone who's more day-to-day, minute-to-minute with Caleb Williams. And so you want to make sure that quarterback coach, those offensive coordinators, they understand your vision, because those are the ones that are going to be in Caleb's ear all day, every day, sitting in film rooms with him while Ben's doing other things, right? Obviously, we know what these offensive head coaches are, McDaniels and our and our McVays and those type guys, they're really involved with the offense. But as a head coach, you got to be involved in all aspects of the building. So I'm excited to see who he brings in. I think guys are going to kind of want to come coach with him. So I don't think we're going to have any problems there. Yeah, man, this is it. This is it. The Bears didn't fuck this up. I was so ready for the Bears to fuck this up. You've been giving me shit about it. I don't really care. I've been around long enough. I've been rooting for this team for almost 40 years. And at every single turn, they have made the wrong decision. At every single turn where it says go left, they've gone right and vice versa. It sounds like they finally made the decision that was right in front of them. Pay this guy. You have a quarterback who's the most talented quarterback, just pure talent that we've ever had in the building. You owe it to yourselves to develop him. You owe it to yourselves to not be sitting here 2 years down the line and say, wow, we really fucked that up. So if this is the guy that you believe in, and from everybody that we respect, no matter who it is, I've yet to hear someone say, hey, Ben Johnson, I have some questions. Again, you'll have to learn how to lead a room. You'll have to learn how to command a room. I told you one of my concerns, the only concern I really had with Ben Johnson is Dan Campbell is such a force of personality and is such like a culture setter in that building that Ben could essentially just focus on drawing up the greatest offenses, right? Like you didn't really have to do a lot of leadership when you have a Campbell like that. But it doesn't matter, man. I'm not worried about that. The guy is smart. He's going to be focused on developing the quarterback, and he wanted to come here. He could have gone anywhere. He could have been with Tom. He could have went anywhere, and he decided to come here. So I'm all in. I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. Still skeptical because it's the Bears, but it's an A+ so far in the offseason. Go get an offensive line though. Yes, go get an offensive line. I don't care. I don't care. Trade DJ Moore. Trade Keenan Allen. Trade Cole Kmet. I don't care. Like I like skill position players. They're great. They're nice, decorations to put on the tree, but you need a tree to put decorations on. And that tree is the offensive line and defensive line.
A perfect example is as the San Diego or Los Angeles Chargers. Harbaugh went in there.
Joe Alt.
And drafted Joe Alt and literally let all of his skill players leave.
Go,
Keenan Allen,
bye.
Gone.
Bye.
Williams, Mike Williams.
Bye.
See
Peace. Eckler.
Eckler.
Yeah. Bye.
Great back. Catch and run.
See ya.
Pack up your bags.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
So we are gonna do this shit inside. And you know who we didn't get rid of? Bosa.
Mac.
Derwin
James. Those boys. Yeah.
Those boys.
Yeah.
Like
it's telling. It's telling.
It is.
And Joe Alt. Listen, you draft Joe Alt. They won't worry about that position for the next 15 NFL seasons.
No doubt.
You just don't worry. Joe Alt, he's be fine. He's there forever. You're going to be great.
When I was first reading up on Joe Alt when he was in college, and I found out that his dad was a tackle, I was like, the surefire win.
Yeah. Did you see his dad? His dad is every bit of offensive tackle too. Like still has the look like this guy was whipping his son's ass back in the day, getting him ready to play football.
Get this. This guy is Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
This is a surefire.
No nonsense.
Just like when they said, "Oh, where's Joe Thomas on draft day?" and he was fishing. I'm like, "You got a winner."
Yeah. I remember that. He's on a fishing boat. He's not worried about none of this shit.
He doesn't care about none of this
plug
extra
and
bullshit.
play.
He just wants to block people and come around and pull and get out on screens.
And pay me.
Yes.
That's it.
Those are the guys that you talk about offensive linemen.
It's music to my ears. Forget about it. Get Joe Alt. Music. Listen, 15 years, never worry about it. Joe Alt's dad.
Joe Alt's dad was a tackle before him for 15 years. Come on, man. Stop it.
Sign me up.
Stop.
Sign me up. Easy. I'm done. Say less.
Guys I want, man.
I'm already in. Give me those guys. Joe Thomas, the perfect example. He was fishing on draft day. I don't care. Whatever. When do I show up to camp?
When do I start blocking?
When can I start blocking people?
Tell me when I can start blocking, and I'll be there on time.
Yeah.
Period. Like that's it. So.
And I only left because I got sick of blocking for losers.
Yes, facts. And I never even asked out. Really, I was just kind of like, I just love doing my job. I don't want no extra friction.
Yeah.
I don't handle any of the roster shit. Whoever's in front of me, I don't give up any sacks. That's what I do.
Yeah.
You guys go do all the other
You guys figure out all that other shit.
Oh, you guys don't want to figure it out? I retire.
I'm done. I'm gonna drop 100. I'm gonna drop 100 pounds. Show up on TV every once in a while. I'm rich.
Yep.
Whatever. I did my job. Hey, it wasn't my fault.
Yes,
It wasn't my fault.
It wasn't because I wasn't doing my job.
I don't draft quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's a fact. So shout out Joe Thomas, shout out Joe Alt. But yeah, that's a perfect example. The Chargers are building in year one, from building in to out. They get McConkey, who's a great wideout as a rookie, but still
always open.
In, out, they're already in the playoffs and they're going in the right direction. So
you have foundational pieces on both sides of your offensive line. You have Bosa on your line. You have Bosa on the defensive line. You have Alt on the offensive line.
Yeah, exactly.
He understands that.
Build inside out. I think our guy Ben Johnson knows that. I'm excited to see what he puts together. I'm excited to get in there and get working with Caleb. And I'll say this, man. The pressure on Caleb Williams is going to be real because they are, for a team that we have followed closely, I will say they had the last 2 years they've been trying.
It's the most aggressive they've ever been
to do right by Caleb Williams. Did they do right by Justin Fields? No. Should they have fired Eberflus? Yes. But they still tried to fill out the roster with talent and pieces for him to work with. They tried to put together a really, really good defense with young pieces. That was solid, but it didn't work out. They now go out and get, without question, bar none, the most coveted coach on the market. He lands in Chicago. So they've been trying to do right by Caleb. And if it's one of those things where the magnifying glass on Caleb on this offense is going to be heightened.
Huge, yeah.
In the next couple of years. So we'll see how it shakes. But I'm just glad that they went and got him.
And Caleb was very, Caleb got his fair share of criticism, but it would have been a lot more if people didn't think that Eberflus was a dumbass and didn't think the whole thing was dysfunctional. Johnson's coming in with the pedigree of having done this before with quarterbacks. So to your point, if it doesn't look good, the eyes will turn to Caleb and say, hey, look, man, you've gotten everything that you've asked for if they fix the offensive line. Now, if he's running for his life again, it's a moot point. But let's say they fix the offensive line or attempt to, or even make a better offensive line play. Like it would be harder to be worse than last year. And he still doesn't look good, or he doesn't look like he's putting in the work or whatever it is. I know that there was obviously this always happens. There are some questions about his work ethic. Black quarterback shit happens every fucking time. Is he working hard enough? Is he putting in the time? Listen, if you don't have a head coach in a situation around you that actually shows you what putting in the time looks like, this is what happens. Right? You know why Brady was great? Belichick showed him how to put in the time. That system showed him how to put in the time. Andy Reid has shown Mahomes how to put in the time, right? So, I don't put that on Caleb either. This guy has skated off talent for his whole entire life. Then he shows up last year in the first 3 weeks of the season. You have him doing 7-step drops and trying to launch the ball 50 yards downfield. So that's not on him. If Johnson comes in there, gives the structure, right? They need structure. We look at Jayden Daniels. Say what you want to about Quinn. He came in there and gave fucking structure, right? Came in there and gave structure to the organization. We know Rivera had given a little bit of structure there, but Quinn comes in, takes it to the next level, gives structure.
Hey.
Andy Reid gives Mahomes structure. Herbert had structure this year. Had structure through 4 interceptions. Why? Because he had structure.
Correct.
That stuff matters. No structure. You have what's been going on in New York. You have what's been going on in Chicago. I love Stefanski, but maybe you have what's been going on in Cleveland. I'm not 100% sure, right? Structure matters. Look at Darnold. Goes to the Vikings. Structure. You can't just go out there and play ball. Shanahan. Structure.
And also, speaking of Shanahan, I think that might be actually a really good comp for Ben Johnson just on the leadership side, where it's like Shanahan was always an offensive guy, but he's turned into a force and a presence on the leadership side, in my opinion.
Is Ben Johnson's dad a Hall of Fame coach, though? That helped. I mean, being around your pops like that, and kind of seeing what that looks like. Look, man, he's got to figure that out.
And his dad.
That's the question with. That's the question with the. It is you need to be able to lead the folks, and you need to be able to have control of the building, right? You need to be able to have control of the building, and you got to be able to do both. Some guys are good at one, not good at the other.
But it's always a lot. It's always a lot more interesting, or easier, I should say, to control the building when you're winning games and putting up W's. I have no doubt that Sirianni has no control of the Philadelphia Eagles building.
I don't know. Yeah, I think he's an idiot.
I don't know if he's an idiot because he wins a lot of games. They win a lot of games, but everything seems to be teetering on on explosion.
Well, if they lose, it's brutal. Right. Yeah, if they don't win the right way, it's brutal. That's why I don't think he actually does have. I think he is an idiot, but obviously he's doing something right because you're right. He has won a lot of games, seems to have a good amount of playoff success. But I do think that like he's the type of guy. If they go on like a 2-game skid, that whole building might burn down.
Well,
like so, he's not in. He's not in. Yeah, it did.
It
yeah,
literally did.
It did after a win.
Yeah. Earlier in the season, it was bad news.
So. Yeah, it was bad news. So yeah, I mean, but I think if he can control and command the whole situation, be in charge, be the guy over there. I mean, I'll put it this way: just looking at him, he seems like a guy that could be in control. Like he doesn't look like a McDaniels or a Chip Kelly type guy. Right. Looks like a serious guy, man. And going there, putting in the work.
He's not wearing off-white
McDaniel. And listen, I'm surprised he kept that job. If we really want to be real, as much as we love Singular, I think the player. You saw it in the Hard Knocks. They're looking at him like this guy's a fucking
idiot. Not an idiot, but just like we don't respect this dude.
We don't respect it. He's not. What are you gonna do? Yell at me? Like fuck out of here.
I will say this too. Last point on Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. This is also the timeline that we've seen before. And something that we can't avoid is that Ben Johnson has the get out of jail free card of I didn't pick this quarterback. His leash is longer than Caleb Williams.
For sure.
I want people to realize that.
Mm-hmm.
He has this get out of jail free card that he didn't pick Caleb Williams. Now, if he comes out in the next couple years and the offense doesn't look like people think it should look, there might be that narrative of Ben is giving Caleb what he thinks he can handle. Why doesn't this offense look so prolific? It's like you'll hear the rumblings of this is the most that Caleb can handle. I don't want to start going crazy on offense because I don't know if Caleb can handle it.
Same thing with your Trubisky in year 2.
Yeah, it's like, he doesn't. Why don't you let him loose? He's like, it's basically like, I don't trust him. So there's that. But hopefully, I don't even know why I brought that up, but like that's just kind of the narrative piece that could start to come up. And then it's like, this is not my guy, bro.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But all positive right now as it sits on January 21st. Ben Johnson is the Chicago Bears head coach. I'm very excited. We've been saying it for months. The number one priority is to develop Caleb Williams the right way. Ben Johnson looks to be the guy that could do that and create an offense and tailor it around Caleb's strength to move the rock up and down, because there's no doubt Caleb Williams is talented. Caleb Williams could run the ball. I don't see why Caleb Williams couldn't run the rock just like Jayden Daniels. He wasn't in position. They didn't put him in position to run it like Jaden. I don't see why he can't next year have 700-plus rushing yards without getting hit. Like, I truly believe that if he could make all the throws, in my opinion, that Goff has made all year, and he can run.
Yeah.
Is he as pinpoint accurate as Jared Goff at this point in his career? No. But he's better
in the league for 7 years, yeah.
And he's better under pressure. He can wiggle. He can get out of things. I think Ben Johnson's going to be putting this dude in a lot of positions. And to close it out on that comment you made on Jamison Williams, have you ever seen a skill guy get called on the end around pass and throw the ball away? Shoulder? No. Throw the ball.
Oh yeah, away. No. He's letting it go. Yeah, there's zero chance. Like, they're not thinking like that.
No matter what, these boys got to get the throw off. What? Like, did they not talk about that?
Especially a wide receiver. A wide receiver's life is about making a play. So you mean to tell him I'm going to throw a play away? It's not. They're not built that way. It's like quitting on a route.
Tried to throw make a play. Shoulder.
Yeah, he's like, okay. Let me spin.
That was funny. All right, let's move on to the rest of the NFL playoffs, man. Where you want to start, Big Nick the Quick? Because
let's start with Sean's favorite topic, the Kansas City Chiefs. We're right back here.
The Arrowhead Invitational, man.
Right back where we always knew we'd be.
They are going for a three-peat. They get 2 fucking weeks off full. They haven't played a game since Christmas. Then they get a team in the Texans that they beat 3 weeks prior. So layup in the first round. But they earned the layup because they won all the games they need to in the regular season. So I can't fault them for that. Now Buffalo comes to town. I don't think Buffalo is all that good. They're good.
They're not as good as there's some shakiness to Buffalo that does exist.
There's some shakiness on the defensive side, especially.
Very much so.
They're small in the secondary. Taylor Rapp, Hamlin, all these dudes are little. They did a really good job early on in the game against Baltimore to slow up Derrick Henry in that run game a bit, but it started to unravel as the game went on, and Baltimore just couldn't overcome a couple of their mistakes.
Well, Baltimore was making terrible mistakes.
Yeah, they couldn't get it.
Terrible mistakes. Yeah.
Yes, they made a lot of mistakes.
Fumbles, drop balls. I mean, Andrews was dropping balls all game. I know that the 2-point conversion is highlighted, but he was dropping balls all game.
Yeah.
Lamar was shooketh in the first half of the game. Didn't look right. It looked like the Ravens of old as far as the playoff performance.
In the second half.
The fumble was the killer. But in the second half, I mean, Baltimore stormed back. So, yeah. And you lose that game, and but if he catches that, you obviously lose that ball game or you're put in a bad situation. So.
Now, the one thing that the Chiefs, throughout the years in the playoffs versus Josh Allen, the probability of him turning the ball over was a little higher than it is right now. He's not turning the ball over at all. No. Josh Allen is not giving the ball up. You wanted to start in Kansas City. Talk to me. Is this just surefire? Done, dusted, that they're gonna
No, I don't think I mean, we have questions about Buffalo, but I'm not gonna act like they're gonna go in there and get fucking rolled. I mean, Buffalo's a good team. You have a great quarterback. He's played awesome this year. Obviously, he's a leading candidate for MVP. But we know how tough it is to go and play in Arrowhead in January, right? It's gonna be cold as shit, which doesn't bother Buffalo, but again, that stadium we know is one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL, and the Chiefs, outside of one game against Joe Burrow, have never had an issue there in the playoffs, right? So I just feel like, obviously it's advantage KC. Obviously on paper, Buffalo's a better team, but again, you put them in that building, you put them in these situations, and it was kind of similar to, do you remember that year? I think it was, we lose track, I think it was Brady's fifth Super Bowl. New England was terrible for most of the year, right? Just fucking terrible. Kind of like this Chiefs team, winning games, but kind of limping through them. The defense was whatever, not putting up a ton of points. And then once you get to the playoffs, it's just like, yeah, but you still got to beat these guys. Like, once you get there and they're playing at home, like, it's an issue. And I think it's the same thing with the Chiefs, right? Like, they're not going to make mistakes. They're going to cost them the ball game. You have to go in there. Was it when they played this year, it was in Buffalo, right? The regular season game?
Game was in Buffalo, yeah.
That was in Buffalo, right? You gotta take that same mentality and you gotta smack them up. Don't try to play them close. Don't leave it to some fourth quarter, last couple of drives type things. Because to your point, like you always like to say, they got a wishbone. Something will happen for them that's going to break in their way. Or Mahomes will make a play or whatever it is, right? Like, you have to go in there and you have to beat them. Like, in the first quarter. Like, establish yourself right away. Don't play this team close if you're Buffalo. If you're the Chiefs, just keep doing what you've always been doing. Mahomes, if this game's in Buffalo, I'll put it this way, like, the Chiefs don't have a chance.
Mahomes turned it over twice, had 2 interceptions. Josh Allen had 1 as well. I mean, if you win throughout this playoffs, if you win the turnover battle, you win the game. Period, point blank. Buffalo can absolutely not turn the rock over going to Arrowhead and dealing with the Chiefs. I'm excited to watch it. Small favorite for the Chiefs, -2, -130 on the money line. Total's 48.5, which seems a touch high.
That seems a bit high.
Seems a bit high in this spot, but this is going to be. This is that.
When's the last time the Chiefs scored 24 points?
Yeah.
When's the last time the Chiefs scored 24 points? Just cutting it right down the middle. When's the last time they scored 24 points? But yeah.
Yeah, offensively, they continue to not jump off the page, but Travis Kelce had a massive game in round 1.
Massive, yeah.
He still finds space. Him and Mahomes are on this telepathic.
It's a different level.
I still don't think we understand how much off-scripting they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're even they're playing a lot more background football, recess football than we realize.
Did you see the touchdown the other day? That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Mahomes is getting sacked, falling forward, storms, and when Kelsey catches it, looks at my man and spikes it. It was called.
Yeah, it was called. Yeah, so they get it done. We have a rematch of probably the best divisional game we've ever seen. This time it's in the Arrowhead in the AFC Championship. Winner goes to New Orleans to potentially play the Eagles or the Commanders. Now, we got to talk about Jayden Daniels and just quarterback play in general. This kid is fucking unbelievable.
He's awesome.
I was at MSG. My girl, Monica McNutt, shout out Monica, is a Commanders fan. She's from D.C., went to Georgetown, the whole thing. And we were talking about, is Jayden Daniels a top 5 quarterback already? This is before they went to Detroit. And I was like, man, you guys got to really stop this. Please. Like,
let him grow.
He's a rookie. They've been getting lucky all year long. They had just went to Tampa and scored 23 points and needed a couple turnovers and a couple fourth downs, what they've been doing all year long. But without that fumble from Baker Mayfield, they don't get the ball back. They don't score. They probably lose that game, and it's Lions, Tampa Bay. And I think the Lions dust off Tampa Bay. It's a completely different situation because the way that man, Jayden Daniels, had an answer for every blitz that Aaron Glenn threw at him was something like I've never seen. But
it was crazy.
We laughed. We argued. She's like, man, he top 5 right now. McNutt basically was like, yeah, I mean, he's right behind. It's Mahomes. It's Lamar. It's Allen. It's Burrow. And it's Jayden Daniels. And I said, you're nuts. Please relax. And as I sit here a week later,
time.
She's not far off, though.
She's not far off. No.
And how
he's awesome.
Have you been with him?
He's awesome, man. I think, I know this is thrown around all the time, but like the poise, right? Like we have seen young quarterbacks fold up under pressure time and time again. It's not even a knock against them. You're a young quarterback. You kind of got to go through the ringer. It seems like with him, at every single moment this season, you can go back throughout the entire season where it's like, okay, I'm expecting rookie quarterback shit to happen for him. It's like the exact opposite. Maybe that's because he played 5 years of college ball, kind of similar to Bo Nix. Like these guys, I mean, McDaniels had a whole career at Arizona State before he even ended up in Baton Rouge. So he's been starting since I think he was 18 years old in college football, big-time college football. So again, similar to Bo Nix, these guys have a shit ton of games under their belt, shit ton of high-pressure situations. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised when they're coming in with this amount of work that these type of moments don't faze them. But still, again, we have seen rookie quarterbacks fold up, right? Going back to the Hail Mary against the Bears, since then he's been lights out, like absolutely lights out in these type of situations, whether it's late game comebacks, whether it's holding on to a lead, making the right play. He seems to know when to run, when to throw. Someone compared him to RG3 the other day, and I'm like, no, RG3 was a lot more reckless as far as when he went off, right? Like RG3 was a ridiculous athlete, but there was a lot of recklessness. I don't see Jaden as reckless. I think he knows he's a smaller guy, so he tries to get out of bounds and avoid those hits. But to me, he's way more poised as a passer and just seems to make the right plays. So, yeah, I'm not going to say he's top 5 yet. Let's get through his rookie season, right? Let's see what happens next year. I think at the end of last year, we were all ready to say that Coleridge was top whatever, and then you kind of look how this season went. It's like, hey, there is a curve on this, right? Sometimes the next year the league has a lot of film on you. Right, and defensive coordinators get paid a lot of money too, and they adjust. So we'll see what happens. But if I'm a Commanders fan, maybe we're jealous because we've never had this feeling. So it's like, nah, shut up. Yep, forget your top 5 quarterback. We've never even had one. But yeah, I mean, if I'm them, I'm feeling great. If I was a Commanders fan, I'd probably say he's top 5. Yeah, sure. Why? Why not? Never had a quarterback.
Jayden Daniels in the clutch this year, 4th quarter and overtime. He's 3rd in expected points added. He has 12 touchdowns. That's 2nd. His completion percentage is 72.1. That's 4th.
There you go.
Passer rating is 115.9. That's 3rd.
Yeah.
He's a rookie. And they're constantly in these 4th quarter comeback situations. And he doesn't make very many mistakes, man.
He doesn't fold under pressure. He's great. He's great. Shout out Orlovsky for being on it early with him when he pulled out the film. But yeah, 100%.
Also, when we talk about poise, his QBR versus the blitz against Detroit was 98.
Yeah.
He had a solve for every single time a team blitzed or Aaron Gunn blitzed him.
I thought it was a Kingsbury masterpiece as far as some of the play calls.
It really was.
Gashing them in the run game over and over and over again with these long runs.
And
McLaurin.
It was so jarring coming off of the last time we saw Detroit, the blitz just eat up Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
And the blitz couldn't touch Jayden Daniels. He had to solve for everything. Getting outside, stiff arming. Arnold for Detroit on that fourth at bootleg made a big mistake where he had outside all day long. He's never going to stop. If the ball went up the middle on 4th and 1, he's not touching it. He got caught peeking inside. Easy pickup. But him being able to use his legs and go about possession by possession and drive by drive to what he can do is sensational. Yep. Kingsbury is a perfect guy that we were talking about, like maybe a head coach and shit's not for him.
Listen, man, we saw how Cliff is out here living. Yeah. Give me a raise. Give me a couple $1 million and I'll offensive coordinate forever, man. We saw, and you can tell kind of how about Cliff is kind of chilling, man. This is a great spot. You know what I mean? I did the head coaching thing in Arizona, had the sick crib. It's all good. Probably still got it. And yeah, pay me a couple $1 million to coordinate. You were on this with Bieniemy a long time ago. Like, stop trying to seek some of these opportunities when maybe you're not the guy for that. There's nothing wrong with being a career coordinator. You make really good money. Look at Spagnuolo. Steve Spagnuolo's having a great time. Spags. He was head coach of the Rams, I think, for like a year or two, right? Or did he ever even get a head coaching job?
No, Spags was a head coach. I want to say,
was it the Rams or the Giants?
Look it up. I think it was the Giants. I think Spags was head coach of the Giants.
But he attached himself to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and life is great.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
And he'll make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, one of those things where you got a taste of being the head coach. It didn't work out.
It was the Rams.
And now
he was head coach of the Rams.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now I'm back to doing what I do best, and that's, calling D, calling O, whatever. So, yeah, man, everything.
He did win a Super Bowl with the Giants. Spags has 4 rings. Yeah, life is great.
Yeah, D coordinator. He's ridiculous on that side.
He's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. So, yeah, shout out Cliff. I mean, we laughed at him a lot, and he went out and disappeared to Thailand, and he had to get his mind right.
That was great.
All that.
Cliff Kingsbury taking a bro trip to Thailand was probably the greatest. Could you picture see Cliff be like, man, fuck this, I'm going to Thailand.
like, yo, what's Cliff going to do this year? He's like, Cliff's not doing shit this year.
I don't give a damn.
I'll be back.
You know how much money I have? I'm young. I'm about to go out here and have it. He was having a time.
Yeah, I'm chilling. I don't need.
He should have brought. Yeah, Cliff should have shot a documentary on that. I'm sure he was having a fucking hell of a time in Thailand.
So
doing whatever.
Yeah, Jaden special. Let's close it out on the Lamar discourse. I mean, the facts are the facts, man. He has multiple turnovers in a lot of his playoff starts, rookie or not, throughout the years. He has the most losses in the playoffs as a favorite, with 5. I saw that this morning.
That's a bad stat.
That's a really bad stat. You're expected to come in and win, and you lose.
Is that of active quarterbacks or all time, or what is that?
I don't know. I don't know if it's active or not, but like definitely currently active, it's the most.
It's a bad number regardless, yeah.
So you could argue in years past, not enough talent. They don't have the guys. Wasn't the case this year. Zay Flowers is out as number 1. That hurts.
Never.
But, you can't have the interception he threw didn't turn into anything. They went 4 and out or 3 and out the next drive, and then they got the ball right back. But the fumble, them going in, takes potentially 6 or 7 off the board, or at the minimum 3, and gives them a touchdown. It's just a massive swing. You can't do that. But I'll say, man.
Well, in the interception, it doesn't lead to Buffalo scoring, but it also doesn't lead to you scoring. So, right. I mean, it is potential points off the board for yourself in a 2-point game.
Yes.
Game that ended a 2-point game.
He gets the ball. But for me, has he under-delivered in the playoffs throughout his whole career? There's no doubt about it, yes. He's had some of his worst games of the year in the playoffs. There's no doubt about that. A lot of them have been on the road, but last year he got the Chiefs in his building. Like he threw a bad interception in the red zone then. Like he's had bad moments in the playoffs. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But the overall narrative was starting to get he doesn't have the quarterback moxie to get it done in the playoffs. And what I saw from him on that final drive to go 90 plus, 85 plus, whatever the number was, and put it in the end zone, and then give Mark Andrews an opportunity at a 2-point conversion to tie the game with 1:40 left, proved a lot to me and showed a lot to me. The mental side, he wasn't pressed. He wasn't worried. He made all the right decisions. In the second half, he didn't make a single mistake.
Nope.
So there was that balance, Nick. I even tweeted, this next drive, Lamar Jackson's entire name is on the line for the next 12 months on this drive, and he put it together.
And he delivered.
And after that first half, he could have fell off a cliff and turned it over again, and it really could have got out of hand. If you remember, Nick, in that first half, they were going into halftime. He ran off the field and looked like he was like, man, we in good shape. Like, I think we can get back in this game and win it. Like, he didn't look like that was the body language that I read from that. So I was really proud and happy to see him go down, get that touchdown, and put his guys in a position to win after making a mistake, yes, but after he picked up everybody at the highest leverage moment and went on and got it done. A lot of people said he couldn't do that. He did do that. I just wish they were able to get the win.
You know the problem with it, right? Like, we're 3 days removed, so we're still talking about that drive. When we come to talk next year about Lamar Jackson and what we think about the Baltimore Ravens, we won't talk about that drive. We'll just talk about the fact that that was a loss, and we'll add it to his record of playoff losses in big spots. So, like, right now, it's like, yeah, man, Lamar got him there, and it's like, that was great, you know, all that. A year from now, it just gets added as an L in the win-loss column, and that's what's talked about, right? So, like, we won't remember this. We won't look at it that way. You know, the media is not going to look at it that way. They're just going to be like, hey, Lamar lost another big playoff spot in a game that they were favored to win.
I'll say that. I mean, I won't be saying that because I think there was still some.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, though. It's not the narrative isn't going to be the narrative. The Mark Andrews drop will get further and further and further away from the conversation, and it'll just come right back around Lamar's playoff failures because that's a much easier narrative to package up and talk about.
Well, and it's true. Like,
it's true.
Let's not act like it's true, but I still think there was questions about, does this guy have it in a 2-minute drive to go down and score a touchdown on the road in the cold? I don't have those questions anymore. People shouldn't have those questions anymore. The Baltimore Ravens will be right back in the spot they were this year for the next 4 to 5 years. Lamar Jackson will have them there by any means necessary. I wasn't so confident of that before. I'm actually very confident of that now. The Baltimore Ravens will be right back in the mix next year and the year after that.
But your division could get infinitely tough if Cincinnati figures it out. If Cincinnati figures it out and fixes whatever's wrong with them, now you got to deal with them again, right? I think Cleveland and Pittsburgh will stay where they're at, but this was kind of a good year for them in the sense that your division was ass.
It was down,
right? It was really down. You know, the Steelers completely imploded. The Bengals didn't make it, and the Browns were the Browns. So it was kind of like this year was kind of perfect for you. You have that first year of Derrick Henry, and as great as Derrick Henry is, Father Time is undefeated, especially on running backs, right? So can he do this again next year? Is he an 1,800-yard back at 33? Now you're charting into you're going into uncharted territory now, right? And things change, man. I think that's why these windows, like you saw it in Lamar's face, where it's just kind of like, fuck, another 12 months of this, right? Starting right back from the beginning, grinding, trying to get there, doing all that. Like, yeah, so that's why I think it's tough, man. This was a demoralizing one, though, I feel like, man. It was tough.
You know what's funny? I think, and how I took it was, of course, it was a demoralizing, tough loss because they were the better team overall.
Yes.
I think that last drive, them going out like that, is massive for Lamar's mental.
I don't think so. See, I'm not putting as much in there.
I think it's huge for them going forward. And you almost saw it when he went and gave his love to Josh Allen and dapped him up. He was smiling. He was like, I almost got us back in it. You got this one. Congratulations. But I was right there to putting you in a position where you were going to have to go back down and get some more points. I think that last drive for them big picture wise. Of course, they would have liked to win the game, but it wasn't like they ended on a Lamar Jackson interception and they kneeled it out.
I think if you're, dude, I don't know, man. I'm with you on that. I think for anybody else, yeah. I think for Lamar, and I think the thing with Lamar, the reason why it is Super Bowl or bust, there is nothing he hasn't accomplished. Like, I get, like, yeah, you want to get the monkey of last drives and all that off the back, but at the end of the day, this is a guy who's a 2-time NFL MVP. This is a guy who was a Heisman Trophy winner. This is a guy, the only thing left to play for, there's no more moral victories for him. There's no more, ooh, this is another notch on the journey. The journey only has one destination at this point for Lamar Jackson, and that's winning a Super Bowl. You likened him to Peyton Manning earlier. In all those playoff failures that Manning had, I'm sure there are situations where he almost had it. I'm sure there are drives that maybe ended with a Vanderjagt missed kick or something like that, or probably not Vinatieri. That man didn't miss anything. But it didn't matter because after a while they were just all lumped together in a never-ending string of playoff failures until he finally won a Super Bowl. When we look back on Manning, do you remember any of the ways that Manning lost divisional or conference playoff games? No, I don't. All I know is that he lost them. So I think with Lamar, we're kind of in the same spot. Like, yeah, you can hold on to that drive and understand that you can execute a 2-minute drill, and maybe that'll make you feel a little bit better about yourself going into the offseason. It was more than that,
though. It was more than that for me.
There's nothing left for him, man. Like, he really has – there's just nothing left for him to do.
No, there's no doubt about it.
Even another MVP, it's kind of like whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just kind of racking them up at this point. Like, I need a championship. I need to be mentioned as a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I need to at least get to one.
That drive was massive for his mental for me. I think he's going to carry that throughout the entire offseason that, yes, I had a bad first half. I came back in the second half, didn't make any mistakes, and I put my boys in a position to potentially win that game and go to Arrowhead, and it didn't break our way. Instead of I failed, I let the team down, I threw an interception on the last drive and didn't even have an opportunity to go to overtime. So we'll leave that there. Ben Johnson in Chicago. Oh, let me ask you this before we get out of here.
They're showing him at Hallis Hall right now. He can't dress. Uh-oh.
Oh, well, we know. That's good. That's good. Stay.
Oh, he's addressing the whole. All right, I'm gonna send this to you and watch it afterwards.
Yeah. Well, I'll watch it after we hop off. But last question I got for you: how do you think this works out? So, Chiefs game. Caitlin Clarke, longtime Chiefs fan. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce's boyfriend.
Oh, I didn't know she was a longtime Chiefs fan. I guess she's from Iowa, so it makes sense. But
yeah, longtime Chiefs fan. Apparently, I didn't know that either until I saw it at the game, and they mentioned it. But they're in the same box, Nick. But when they first show them, Taylor's obviously sitting in her regular front row seat. Caitlin's like 3 or 4 rows back and like off to the side. We come out of half, and Caitlin's sitting right next to Taylor. Mm-hmm. So my question to you is, I need to talk to someone at like ESPN or like what they think about this. Or like
talk to someone at
Nike.
Does
someone from the network say, hey, we want Caitlin sitting next to Taylor?
Absolutely.
But yo, like Trav's mom's got to get up? Or is it like they planned this? Like, hey, come sit with me in the second
Well, there's
half?
no way they didn't know that they would both be in the same box, obviously.
Well, they knew that,
so
right?
they knew that was going to happen. Yeah, I'm sure they planned that. Yeah, let's have you guys together. We'll flash to that. It'll be great for Caitlin. It'll be great for Taylor. And we'll just have that set up this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, why? Right? Or if they're sitting separate, people are going to start. Oh, why are Caitlin Clarke and Taylor Swift sitting away from each other?
Well,
does she not like her?
Each other.
They when you're at that level, you know each other. Even if you haven't met each other yet, you know you know how this goes. It's the same. It's the same reason. It's the same reason when we see like rappers, everybody's bro. That's my bro. That's my bro. It's like you just met this guy 4 minutes ago for the first time in your life, but that's your brother. It's the same thing. You know how this. You've been around. You see this all the time. That's my brother. What's his name? Yeah, it's my guy. Yeah, you don't know this guy. Yeah, it's the same type thing. That's how it goes. They know each other by situation. You're rich, I'm rich.
No, you're rich, I'm white.
You're a rich white chick, I'm a white chick. All right, cool. We're super white. Yeah, let's do this together.
Yeah. So I would love to know, like, the conversation that was had is like Caitlin.
It'll probably lead to some money too. It'll lead to some money too.
Let's do a business deal. Is it whatever?
Nike
so
for sure.
I think
Nike's like Caitlin needs to be right next to Taylor. Nike makes that call as well. Yeah.
But what if Caitlin's mom, or what if Travis's mom's like, I'm not getting up?
She understands at this point. She's not worried about it. She's fine. She's fine.
I just think it's a fascinating thing to see, like, how that came together. Like, oh, Caitlin Clarke and Taylor Swift next to each other. It's like, oh, how convenient. Yeah. How more convenient can we get here in this spot as Travis Kelce goes for fucking 9 catches and 155 too?
Yeah, so, it's perfect. This works out great. She's high-fiving. Oh, Travis, yeah, it's great. It's worked out great. It's been great.
It's been great.
This whole Chiefs thing is just great. Your tight end is dating the most famous person in the world. Mahomes is just doing Mahomes. The whole thing is just great. Like we said it all year, they have been kicking it all season long. It's just been a never-ending. They've just been chilling, dog. I don't know what's going on over there, and they keep winning, phenomenal. So nobody really gives a damn.
Nobody gives a damn. It's
Mahomes probably doesn't even practice at this point. It shows up on Sunday.
For Big Nick the Quick, I am your host, Sean Little. Go subscribe, man. Send the link to a homie. Tell the friend to subscribe as well. Leave a 5-star review for us if you can as well. We're gonna try to be more consistent over here. Until next time, Big Nick the Quick, Sean Little. No Ketchup, baby.